This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed, lab-proven to work fast, and proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Questions for Sean Salisbury, hit the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line at 64686. Sean, once again, I'm delighted to remind folks will be a regular on Thursdays. He had very special business yesterday, so was able to find some time for us today. Mr. Salisbury, first of all, how have you been?
I'm doing awesome, Dan. Thanks. It's great to be with you, and I love this time of year, as I know you do too. But,
yeah.
Always love coming on with you and talking to your Minnesota.
Give me an update. You continue to diversify from a media standpoint. So remind folks what you are up to these days.
Well, I do my morning drive show on iHeart in Houston from 6 to 10. That's the local show.
Yep.
It's been going great. I've been very fortunate, and have a new national podcast. It's called Unpaved. You can get on YouTube, on wherever you get your stuff, on Spotify,
sure.
All that. It's live 12 Central every day, and do that. And it's called Unpaved, and we kind of dive into everything with some fun, deep interviews, like with Chipper Jones.
Oh, nice.
All and just good hardcore football talk without saying that Tom Brady's not a generational quarterback. But we'll get you know what I'm talking about, too, Dan, don't you?
Yes.
And then so I do that, and then I'm starting, which is not announced yet. I'm looking forward to it. And I'll share it on here when the contract's signed, but it's another one. But it's like a betting show.
Oh, nice! And
my partner in it is legendary. That will move the needle because he's awesome.
Okay,
and as good a public bettor or as popular a public sports bettor as there is, and so that'll be cool too. And you'll be able to find it at the same place as Dan and Rumble and all that. And then I got a couple of businesses that are going good and
that's
coming
great.
To a place near you. So it's that we've built, and you get to the point where you build them and now say, okay, now it's the payoff. I want one of those $1 billion companies that everybody seems to sell, right?
Yeah, sure.
But it's going good, man, and just working out and playing some golf and trying to get that right and looking forward to the season. I always love joining you, man.
You've reinvented yourself very capably over the last several years, for sure. Since you brought it up, because we did talk about it yesterday, in fact, at the start of the show, and it was the comment made, I think it was Ryan Clark in one of the ESPN Scream Fests. And what I actually broadened the subject beyond football, because I think the same trap gets fallen into now by too many analysts in basketball too, where they get so fascinated with what they view as physical talent, like the basketball player who's got, what's he got in his bag? How many, what's his handle? How fast can he go from, and instead of, but how does he help a team win? Because as you know better than I, when there's no point in just talking about physical talent if other attributes generally, whether you have that talent or not, contribute so mightily to success. But for some reason, we got more and more people who just want to get into, man, he just broke ankles. A basketball player who broke ankles, or a football player who can throw the ball, faster than anybody in history. And I don't know why there's that inclination. You have any theories?
Yeah, no, I'm with you too. It's maddening to me, Dan. It is. You know, when you sit back and try to observe and say, okay, what would make somebody tell me that Brady, Breeze, and Manning are not generational talents at quarterback? Now, first off, what are we talking about? Now, if you're talking about what you're saying exactly, well, you mean, can a guy line up at the 100-meter and run like Usain Bolt? Okay, straight line speed. That's right. That's just tremendous sprinter and got great athleticism getting from, 0 to 100 in 9 point, or should I say, what are we at now? 8.9 seconds or 9.2, whatever it is at 100 meters, whatever they're running now. But when you talk about the position and what's quarterback, well, you're right, whether it's basketball ankle breaker or whether it's baseball exit velocity, you're talking about all that. Like we've diminished like Tony Gwynn and Wade Boggs, I guess, and Ichiro wouldn't be any good now because, we don't like average. Well, to me, you get on base with singles, and then we could steal a base. You're sitting in position for me to drive you in. The whole analytics, which it's evidence, and you know this, it matters.
Sure.
It's like game planning. If I'm playing the Bears on Monday night and they play 85% man coverage inside the red zone, well, if I'm an offensive coordinator and I call zone beaters 85% of the time, I'm an idiot, right?
Correct.
We'll adjust the other. So that's just evidence. Well, with this, and when they say this, I know the hot takes and scream fest, and it is maddening when you remove yourself from it and say, come on now talk to me real.
Exactly.
At the quarterback position, it's not just how far you can throw it. Hell, I could throw it far, but I didn't complete 72% of my passes, right? Could throw it hard. So, and you spend 10 years starting some and backing up a lot. I say, okay, wait a minute. You mean generational talent like LeBron James, 6'8", 265, and can do it all, or a generational basketball player? So when he comes in, and we use the term great and generational too often.
True.
Well, I know Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Mahomes are all playing against each other, and I would call them, or Joe Burrow, there's four guys that, not change the position, but add pretty good to it.
Yep.
And four guys that you'd say, I'll take that guy. The fourth place guy is as good as the first place guy on any given Sunday. So what are we talking about with Arch Manning? Oh, a generational name, a great family pedigree, great DNA. Now, is he a great quarterback yet? Not college. He's had one real starting game other than the two against somebody that he was supposed to beat. So let's slow our roll. So is he a generational producer? No. Is he generational name and legacy? Absolutely. Does he got potential? Yes. So when you talk about generational talent, are we talking about run fastest, throw the farthest? Are we talking about makes teams better, enhances the group around you, coachable, makes plays when pressure's on, escapes the rush, throws accurately on time, wins championships, can play under duress, plays hurt, has durability? That to me, so if you look at Larry Bird, that's not a generational talent when you talk about run the fast. Matter of fact, he couldn't do anything better than anybody other than beat you and beat you at shooting, you in-game performance, right, Dan? So now if you say generational athlete, then call up Ohtani, Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders. If you say generational quarterback, that if you're every quarterback I train wants to be Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes or one of those guys or Lamar Jackson, well, then that tells me that what they're doing on the field tells me they're game changers, winners, difference makers, playoff or team enhancers. So it just is for you to look into a camera when it comes to the quarterback position and tell me those three cats don't belong. Then who does? Then who does? If we're just talking about numbers, then I guess Mahomes isn't really the guy anymore because the last 2 years he's fallen off, right, Dan?
Correct.
So it's baffling to me. First of all, I wish they'd explain, well, when you say generational, what do you mean by that? Do you mean that he wasn't born into, Serena Williams and LeBron James have a kid, it comes out as generation?
Right,
of course.
Yeah.
I get it. So, but if you're just talking about at that position, Brady was a late draft pick and goes in, as we know, and does this thing. He transformed himself into not only generational, but historic, all the other, words that we apply to it. So it's absurd because what do you want to do? It's not a superstars competition. It's do you win games and do you make teams better? And can you give us a chance to win every week? And the guys we just mentioned do have and will continue to, those that are playing and those that didn't. We all want to compare to those three guys. We all need to be Breeze, Brady, and Manning and not be called generational talents, right? It's an odd thing, but Dan, it drives social media and people to tune in and do just what we're doing. Yeah, what the hell are you talking about?
I think for me, part of it is I get if you're trying to say, well, I'm trying to compare sort of like physical talents. But I'm not interested. To me, wasting time with those discussions. It's far more interesting if you mean talent in the sense of the package. I'd rather have the debate, and you can still have debates there. You can still say who's better and have fun. I'm just bored with it being about how a guy looks, or that, John Wall has come up and say he's the fastest player ever. He's the most underrated player. He didn't win enough. I'm sorry. It's just bizarre.
Dan, when I sit there real quick, when I sit there and hear this, I'm like, okay, I'll put it this way. And Dan, you and I both know him. I've been teammates with them. I've been guys who never made it. Some of the best talented generational skill sets I've ever seen in my life, nobody's ever heard of. Buddies of yours, you say, man, when he touches everything he does, he's good at it. He bowls a 200, can run fast. And then you say, well, how'd he do in competition when it mattered? He's watching football on Sundays like the rest of us. So you got to describe it, but it is a maddening conversation. Quite frankly, at times, on some of these opinions I see, I'll respect your opinion if it's got any validation, not just the hot take. It's insufferable at times. It's hard to watch. And I'm not getting anybody's wallet or who's good or who isn't. I don't like to do that with those guys. But when you say stuff like that, I got to question the instant judgment credibility. It's just weird to me.
In your long and distinguished football career, including every level you played at, did a player ever spit on you or attempt to spit on you?
No, and Dan, when I say this, it's not the macho thing. There's a lot of things that cross the line of, oh, man, you disrespected me. I just assume you come up and punch me right in my face before you do that. And I said on my morning show today, I said, listen, this isn't a macho thing. Jalen Carter or some 7-degree black. I mean, one of those Jalen Carter spits on me. I got two choices. I could sit there and take it, or I may take a beat down, but just respect-wise, that's the closest thing to an automatic guarantee fight in my life that you would have. It is, and it just is at any level. Your kids doesn't. I don't care what happened leading up to what was said. There can be no more tacky, trashy. The two things I've always said about teammates, or playing against somebody, or competing in that arena, or teammates. I guess you can apply it to family or anybody else. Spitting covers all grounds, but the worst things you can do to a teammate or an opponent, a peer, is one, steal from them in a locker room. If I got $1,000 in cash in my locker, Dan, and you're my locker mate sitting next to me, and I'm in the shower, and you say, man, the cash is sitting out, he won't miss it, he's making it, and you take it, which just happened in locker rooms and where watches. It's like, damn, there can be no more. I mean, now you've just diminished everything we had built up. And the other side is spitting on somebody. I mean, I've been angry at a lot of things, but at no time in my life, I'd rather punch somebody in the throat, but I've never been in a position where I want to spit on them. I have never had it happen. I've had a lot of crazy things, guys grabbing, because we don't wear cups, guys grabbing you in that area when you're underneath the pile. That's happened many a time. Or you're on a pile and you got 5 guys on you, and some guy sees it's your ankle and they start to twist it. And you'd be amazed how strong you actually get. When this guy's wrong, it's when they say, well, you can pick up a car when you're at the bottom of a pile and they're doing that, you start twisting with your legs so it doesn't get left behind. So, but spit, nah. To me, it's cowardice, it's weak, it's trashy, and it's the lowest form of scum in that moment that you can have. And I said to my partner this morning, my co-host, I said, I may take a whooping, but if you want to, Gary, if you hate what I say on radio or television, or you don't like me and you see me in public at a restaurant or a bar and you want, spit on me. And then I can guarantee you we're getting in a fight no matter what the situation. But I don't have then I see red. But it's never happened, thank goodness. I just can't. But once you do that, I don't know how you get that respect back from either players, teammates, or anybody else.
Let's talk also, and of course we're talking about, for those who didn't watch the opener last night, what Jalen Carter did really before the first play from scrimmage, right after the opening kickoff, and he got ejected from the game. Vikings, of course, are in Chicago for the Monday night game. I have already suggested to the audience that if the Vikings are going to win this game, I believe the key should be an advantage between the Vikings defense and the Bears offense. And the point I've made was that historically, Ben Johnson run teams in Detroit, especially the last 4 games, the last 2 seasons, have absolutely dominated Beeflo and his defense. The numbers are astonishing, including, I said, the completion numbers, 102 of 130. That's like almost 70. That's 78.4%. but that obviously Ben Johnson can't bring that whole Detroit Lions offense with him to Chicago, and that on paper, whatever the Bears are going to be, they shouldn't be completed yet. They don't have the same continuity. The Vikings defense does, and that's where the Vikings need to kind of control this game. What do you think?
I'm with you 100%. When I was thinking about this game, I'm thinking, okay, advantages and disadvantages, where do they sit? Right there. Because in truth, Ben Johnson to Brian Flores, and you mentioned the last four, has been the equivalent of you just not, when a guy, you're 0 for 17 with 15 strikeouts against a pitcher. You just can't, and you're a 340 hitter. It's like, I just can't figure him out. And that's what this is. But again, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're not playing in this game, and that big offensive line. So there is the difference. Now, sometimes you get into that rhythm, and they're not going to be able to do all the things they did in Detroit yet. But what Ben Johnson does have in this one, you're right. It should be, if there was ever going to be, he's dominated the last four, this is the one advantage Brian Flores because of the personnel. You would think going into this, right? Sometimes, and for Brian, it's just not to get too caught up in like, well, you just do your matchups and personnel, and I don't want to say it's easier, but it is easier against Chicago right now than it has been against a top-flight offensive Detroit team that can score from the parking lot. For me, it comes down to the one thing that Ben Johnson will be able to do that he didn't have, even though he's got decent feet, but didn't use them, is the bandwidth on the play calling with the quarterback. Dan, and I was impressed with the growth of, even though it's preseason, I don't judge much from that. Caleb Williams hopefully has taken another step mentally for him, but you like the fingernails and all that. We can't deny the skill set.
No.
Every level, every place he's played, he has brought a different skill set to the position. And no disrespect to Jared Goff, because he's a better quarterback right now than Caleb Williams. But I can tell you this, that Caleb Williams' skill set and the bandwidth is better. He's going to, and Ben Johnson's going to have an opportunity to do things in the play action RPO game that he really never could do with the quarterback in Detroit, although he had those two great running backs. So that's where it comes in. And you know what? Listen, Brian, understand, we know his MO. You know the pressure. The key here is if you blitz, and Brian will do that, what you're going to do, you got to make sure the first guy doesn't miss, Dan. You know, that unblocked guy. Right. Because if you do, you can chase Jared Goff down. He's a really good pocket presence and gets the ball out on time and that. But when the pocket breaks down, that's not his strength. This guy, matter of fact, Caleb Williams is going to have to guard against, use the crutch of the first guy's not open, I'm going to take off and run. Now, that's a fine and dandy thing to do, but you've got to elevate and still stay into the next one so you can stay in rhythm and then use your legs as a checkout.
Progression.
But if Brian does what Brian does, and he's a blitzer, which he is, he's going to pressure a young quarterback. That's his MO. You can't miss. Because if you miss this big physical guy, you saw Hurts make plays, they will make plays that kill you, and that can become a great equalizer. So I'm watching it. Advantage Vikings. I know it's on the road. I still think there's going to be growing pains for McCarthy. Yep. It's for him on that. But on the other side, there's going to be growing pains there because it's another new system. And Ben Johnson, we know his aggressiveness, he's not going to play it close to the vest. When he thinks he can get you, he's going to get you. But I do like Brian Flores in this one more than I would have ever liked him against all that bandwidth. But the quarterback bandwidth is bigger than he's had in Detroit with Ben Johnson's than he had with Jared Goff.
You mentioned JJ McCarthy. Two things, really. What's fair to expect from him quickly? Because I think, again, this team built itself very ambitiously in the offseason with the additions, the offensive and defensive line. They acted as if they were a team that doesn't want to rebuild just because the quarterback doesn't have any experience. And secondly, how important do you think it is that the Vikings follow through with what they say is a commitment, especially now with two running backs that they allegedly believe in, to a little bit of, quite frankly, Ben Johnson running philosophy? Because Ben Johnson ain't afraid to run the ball. So how important is that for JJ, especially early, that the Vikings stick to that pledge?
I think it's monumental in the success of the team, especially early on until you get your feel. But in truth, Dan, as we go through the season, the team that won the Super Bowl, just the threat of Barkley in the Super Bowl, I'm just using this example, the threat of him, even though he got a lot of touches, there wasn't a lot of yards. Look what it did for Devontae and A.J. Brown, both got touchdowns. And so but the commitment to it. It's easy to bail on it early if you get behind. It really is. And they did build their offensive line. They're deeper at running back and went out and got another one in the offseason to expand that, to share some carries, which I think is good. I'm going to tell you another reason why. I'm a big believer, and I think great coaches, it's not that I'm going to force you to do only what I do. You know, that stubborn part, Dan, we're going to do this and this we're going to do. And if it's not, I'm going to replace you. It's the other way around, Kevin. You got a different type of quarterback than you've had. Mm-hmm. You do. You got a guy now who lived with play action RPO and living in the low to mid 20s throwing it.
Yeah,
Michigan football, Dan. Power running, get to the edge when necessary. And you're right. Hell, all great coordinators I know want to run it first anyway, and Ben Johnson's no exception. So, and Kevin knows the success in the past of teams he's been around. It starts there. And that leads to everything else. And with McCarthy's legs, and he's got great football IQ, that's gonna help him early on. The reason you don't want to get into a throwing contest is, right, you know, with Addison out, I know you added Thielen, and you got the freak show on the planet as a perimeter guy. But this is what I think will get JJ McCarthy comfortable. What I'm trying to do in this is, with Dennis Allen there, is get to a point where my run game's threat enough in this game and going beyond as you build this to where coordinators during the week have to be eaten up by it. And then, listen, it's a unique thing too, Dan, because how are you going to play Jefferson if you decide to play man? That's a risky proposition. True. If you're playing Jefferson with one guy. So what's the way to do it? Well, you double him. And how do you do that simply in zone? You put a safety over the top and play too high, so you take away at least the home run on the perimeter outside. Well, when you do that, two high safeties is a perfect what, Dan? If it's check with me, run pass, we're running it. So they're begging you to run it if they're going to play zone behind it because they're afraid of the home run. Which that's why that one perimeter guy is so friggin' important, because you say, I ain't playing man on him. So what do? Play too high. Vikings improve their offensive line, interior run game. Bam. Now you got it. You got two bodies. Well, then all of a sudden they get tired of it. And then the legs of JJ McCarthy and play action, which is where he's lived at Michigan and what he's used to, but he never had the dude on the perimeter. So if they get tired of that, what do? You've got to bring somebody down if you're a really effective run team. And then what happens? You saw it in the Super Bowl, and you'll see it in Chicago on Monday night. If they decide to do that, then Kevin will take his shots, because the best thing I can ever hope for is Randy Moss, Chris Carter, Jefferson on one cat, and you know they're not going to cover him. So the run game is going to be – everything the Vikings are going to do this year is going to be off power and the ability to now extend that run game, which is you can bounce it, but you can also get McCarthy's legs on the edge. And truthfully, he's a rookie. He's not a rookie, but he is. Yep. First live experience. The tendency of most coaches, you saw it with Arch Manning and Sarkisian, who loves to spread things out and go, they played it awfully close to the vest. Matter of fact, probably too close in the first half against Ohio State. I would expect some shots to be taken, but I think you're going to see them make sure that they – and there's this pride that goes with physical pounding in the run game, right? They're just wearing people out. Linemen love to wear people out. And then it'll expand. You expand the run game, the passing game, when you can run it great. If you can pass it great and you're not real good at running it, it won't matter. I'll eventually be able to stop you because you'll run into a cold streak, you'll run into weather. Everything you do in football, no matter how good your quarterback is, has to stem from a successful run game, or eventually too many sacks, too many hits, and then you're playing by the hero ball, home run ball. Singles and doubles sustain you more in football than the home run does.
Let me ask you one more quarterback question. Sean Salisbury, we're wrapping up with him here fairly quickly. Ben Gessling will join at 5, Lavelle at probably about 5:30. A lot of people talk about the importance of for a quarterback of processing at the line of scrimmage. And we've heard some of that even from KOC, that in practice he sees encouraging signs that they don't think it's too big for JJ. But break down exactly when people throw out that term processing at the line of scrimmage and you're a quarterback, what precisely does that mean? What are we talking about that the good ones, even the young ones, have to figure out pretty fast as a component of being, getting off to the best start possible?
Well, for instance, one way, and I'll try to explain it as easy as I can in layman's terms, if we were having a clinic and we were talking to fans at Football 101, and plenty of them know, but the processing is, as a young quarterback, and some for veterans, but as a young quarterback, we get so caught up, and think about it, Dan, we're so in high school and college now, when you watch a game, and I fortunately watch a lot of high school games because of the kids I coach, but in college, they're snapping their head over, and that coordinator's calling. They're looking at the coverage for the quarterback and telling them where to throw it. That's why at times the physical skills are there, but the advance of the mental is like, that's why the Jaden Daniels guys that you watch Nussmeier at LSU next year in the NFL, he'll be advanced because you know what? They give him some carte blanche at the line of scrimmage to go from a bad run to a good one, from a bad run to a good pass, from a bad pass protection, adjust the line, all those things that come with quarterback play. As a rookie, you're so caught up in just trying to get the damn verbiage out of your mouth that the processing becomes you feel like you're playing against 15 guys. But for instance, if I call a pass play, the processing part of, okay, you got to, on the walk the line of scrimmage, the process of, okay, I've studied tape and the tendencies, here's what this coverage looks like with all the tape you've watched. And then, okay, that's pre-snap. Now motion. Or motion, a guy goes with him, man coverage. That's why I'd spend more time shifting and motioning. We did it a lot with Brian Billick because it's going to define to you real quick. If a linebacker runs with a motion back, I've already now pre-snap got an advantage. I know it's man coverage 98% of the time. If I run motion and the guy doesn't go, okay, now I'm dealing with zone, so I got to get in my mind, okay, the big play may not be there. First read, second read, check down, go. But to make it simple in the pass play, I call a play, curl flat, check down. All right, so I drop back. Processing is to make sure you go from, okay, the coverage is telling me and dictating my process, not the player.
Gotcha.
When somebody says, yeah, I saw the receiver, well, I shouldn't be looking at the receiver. So the Sam linebacker runs through the flat on a curl flat combo. The process of how quickly can I go from flat to curl right now before that second window closes, which forces me to miss that. Now I'm too soon to the third window and the check down's not there. That's the part of, it's that built-in time clock that says urgent without being hurried, but also that your eyes are knowing where to go. Where am I looking? And then you got to tie in 4-man weak. If I adjust the line, they block my backside. Now that's my sidedness. And I know that's a lot to process now, hence why it's tough for a guy who's got to know all 22 and the game's moving so fast. So it's the ability to know when to move on to the next one, when to throw it away, when to hit the check down. Because our mind speeds up and our legs slow down. What we want is the opposite. You want everything to be urgent, but your mind to slow down and play in slow motion, even though it's urgent thought process. So watch a quarterback where his eyes are darting and how quickly he's able to get through his processing of the reads. And in the run game, it's just knowing numbers and what we're trying to do with the blocking scheme to get us to the right run and not run uphill into a 4-side where we only got 3 guys to block them. It's tough early because you're overthinking, but the key is to get your mind thinking where you're like, I've been doing this forever, even though you haven't, and to settle in. And when you get right down to it, Dan, it's simple. It's back to read the coverage and just get through it and get me completions. If you get me simple completions, the rest will come because we're athletic enough to make them.
Great point. That's excellent. That distills it nicely. It's a combination of know where to look. And when you look in the right place, know what you're looking at. Being able to recognize
so you know where
what
the next
you're
guy's
seeing,
coming,
right?
Dan.
Yeah.
Right. So let's say a guy leaves a place. Well, if a guy leaves the hook curl zone, somebody's got to come into it, right? So it's like we got to balance it out. You can't unless it's a blown coverage. So yes, and that's why Brady, and I don't want to hold you. I know you got other great guests coming on. Is Brady always said as his career went on, and Steve Young even said, I remember him saying one time, just when you're not physically well enough to do it, mentally you figure it out, right? At the end of your career. So you're trying to get to that point where they match up. And Brady always said his biggest advantage was with all his study is pre-snap about 80% of the time he knew where to throw the football. Because he'd studied so much there. That look, I've seen this 50 times. That's why I tell kids all the time, for all that 6 days, you've got to spend twice as much time in the classroom studying than you do out there on the 2 hours on a practice field. Because the lonely work requires it. That little tendency, he's like this, that means he's going to be running the flat. Okay, if he's running the flat, then who's running to the hook curl? Well, Mike's working his way that way. That's part of, and the quicker you can figure out the conflict pre-snap or the second the ball snap, the easier it is to find the answers to the question. They give me and you the answers to the SAT, Dan, even as dumb as I am, we may score perfect score on it, right? If we got a month to study it. Yep. Same thing here. If I know the answers to the test, the processing's easier. The problem with young quarterbacks is they're trying to figure out their own offense, let alone seeing what defense is doing. So it's a tough position, and that's why some of us made it look a lot tougher than it is, I assure you.
I feel like as you're telling us this, you should be standing at a chalkboard, and I should be listening to the chalk noises. That's the only sound effect I would like to add to this conversation.
And I still crave that. I know we got the whiteboard and marker. We got the old chalkboard. You got to erase it. It's all over your shirt, elbows, because the coordinator's doing it.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what, Dan? I actually miss those simple stuff like that, like on TV. I would like just the 60-minute show. Just talk me through a football game.
Exactly.
One-on-one. What are we looking at?
No question.
Instead of, this guy sucks. He's not a generational talent. And it's because he graduated from this school and my high school guy. It's like, just shut up and talk to me about what I want to see, okay? But, hey, we live and we learn, brother. It should be a fun game on Monday night. I can't wait to see the progress of both quarterbacks.
By the way, to your point, real quick, I think it was the second preseason game especially, they mic'd on the Vikings, our radio network, and TV as a simulcast, they mic'd KOC for the third quarter. And I got to tell you, I don't know if there's a place you could find it, but and a lot of it might be elementary to you, but it was an absolute education because he broke stuff down more honestly on the fly, reacting to the plays in real time than I'd ever heard him do before. And it made a meaningless preseason game actually fun to listen to and watch in the third quarter.
Think about this, Dan. Think about now. Put that on a game, how quickly the game moves, right? We're
absolutely.
To him. Now you got the ball in your hand.
Yes.
And you got to make decisions. And one thing, Dan, to this that I can't wait till we get to see one day, those GoPros, those small little cameras we put on the pylon, I want that in the quarterback's front of his helmet. I want fans, the next level of technology in football is for us to be able to watch what the quarterback's seeing during the play. You know, the replay is the quarterback's eyes seeing, oh, damn, now I'm literally in the pocket. That's the next step, and there's something with technology. Why can't we do it?
That's a great idea.
I would love to see that mixed in with, look where his head went. Then you'll be able to know where his eyes are darting from behind him. I think it'd be awesome. But, yes, we all get a lesson, and there's always so much to learn. I love the X's and O's and the chess match of football, and I'm sure it was a pleasure to hear Kevin do that. Sounds awesome.
Linwood Township guy writes, yes, there's a learning curve listening to Sean Salisbury, but extraordinary knowledge, top shelf guest. Thank you. That's how we feel. It's good to have you back for another year, my friend.
Real quick, Dan, you know what we should do if I come on here?
Yeah.
Because I'm like that Nick Saban tell from my studio where you telestrate it.
Yes.
I think it'd be cool one time if we say, Sean, what about this play? And we maybe draw it up.
Oh, I like it.
That's we're going just once we would not to use up your show, but just like a 2-minute when you say, well, Sean, why did he throw the ball here?
I like it.
And then I can make it. Then the visual for your fans is pretty cool. So maybe one of these days we'll get to do it. But in the meantime, thanks for having me on, man.
Awesome.
I used way too much of your time.
That's a great idea. No, man. We could talk to you all day. We'll let you go, get on with other things, and we'll get back to a regular schedule starting next week. Thanks. Good to have you back.
I'm going to hit 1,000 golf balls when I get off with you to see if I can shore that game up. I'm getting ready for the Ryder Cup. I'll talk to you, brother.
Thanks, Johnny. Sean Salisbury back for another season, and I think you know why. We want him again and again and again.
Looking for a smarter choice for dental implants? Meet the Contact Dental Implant System from Biotech Dental, trusted by clinicians across Europe and now available in the U.S. With a single prosthetic connection, streamlined surgical kits, and seamless digital workflows, Contact makes every step easier. It's clinically proven, intuitively designed, and surprisingly affordable. See for yourself why more dentists are switching to Biotech Dental's Contact System. Visit biotechdental.com today to learn more. That's biotechdental.com.
Back in a minute.
Man.
Friday night football on the Fan, correct? Second game of the young NFL season. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Los Angeles Chargers of Anaheim. And all the action, I'm assuming, is it another 7 o'clock start, 7:10, somewhere in there?
Yeah, I think that's right. 7 o'clock.
We had obviously the Thursday night opener on the Fan. We got a great doubleheader Sunday. Second game of the doubleheader. Well, actually, tripleheader, you told me, right? Don't we have 3 games Sunday?
We do, yes. Including the Sunday Nighter, yeah.
Including the Sunday Nighter. The middle game, of course, is the other NFC North showdown. The Packers hosting the Detroit Lions. So a lot of good football. And then Monday night, we'll go 3 until 5. And then the Vikings pregame on the Vikings audio network, VAN, not VEN, Vikings audio network, will take over beginning at 5 o'clock. Dan from Rochester writes, Dan, video with Salisbury would mean that Halvey would have to stay past noon. Well played.
Technically not correct.
Oh. Oh, there are ways to do it?
There's ways to do it.
Okay.
And actually, the way that we connect with him every week, it's really just him turning on the camera and us making it live.
Hard Knocks.
But I love the Halby cheap shot.
I
do love the Halby cheap shot.
Hard Knocks Miami. Tua had the camera in his helmet to see what he was seeing. They already have it. John,
teams use it.
Yeah.
What Sean's talking about is us seeing it. Teams use it in practice all the time. The Gophers do that with their quarterbacks. I assume the Vikings do as well.
Correct. That's correct. Dan, Sean is a generational talent when it comes to analysis. I like the callback. Generational talent. If he can barely let you, of all people, not get in many words, that's for sure. He's awesome. Great show, as always. One other one I wanted to get to here is we'll probably go a little shorter this segment. This comes from MJ from Bloomington, Minnesota. I'm 9 years old, and if you guys are going to talk about JJ McCarthy and the Vikings, you should talk about JJ McCarthy and Justin Jefferson potentially being the greatest duo in football besides Randy Moss and Chris Carter. Thank you. Thank you. Well, to make make this thing correspond accurately, you probably want to pick a quarterback. I get his point, and I love his MJ's enthusiasm at the age of 9. Look, if McCarthy ends up being what everybody in this town has been waiting for forever, a franchise quarterback, there's no reason that this can't be a remarkable combination, JJ to JJ, forever and ever. And I'm sure Justin Jefferson's got to be praying for it, because as much as he says, I'll take the ball from anybody, I got to believe he would like the continuity of the same guy rather than having to break in a new guy every year. So we'll see where exactly this goes. But that's the hope. And as we talked about with Sean, part of the process to get there has to be investing in and not running from the running game, even if it starts slow, even if you run into some difficulties. And again, I don't mean being stubborn. Like as Sean said, if they're bringing one of the safeties up a lot, I'm not saying just keep running the ball because you want to establish the run. You have to react a little bit to what the defense is doing. But I do think it's got to be a component if you're going to get to that place where you get the best out of what J.J. McCarthy to Justin Jefferson might actually represent. I didn't get to ask Sean how Carlos Correa is doing. I apologize to the texter who brought it up. It's a good question. But I thought we were on a roll on football. And it's the opening weekend of football, and so there'll be plenty of time to get to Correa. We didn't even get to Sean about the Durant move. Durant moving to Houston because he's got Shawnee does a morning iHeart talk show on all subjects in sports in Houston, Texas, as well. If McCarthy has a tough outing against the Bears, how do the Vikings handle him going forward for the rest of the season? That was another question that was asked of Salisbury, or would have been if I'd had a chance. Is the suggestion that you go to Wentz after the first game if he struggles? I think that's what. Is that a 701 Fargo area code?
I
think it is, actually.
Yeah.
The leash has to be a little longer than that, maybe 2 weeks. But I don't think 1 week struggling on the road against I still don't think it's not an established Bears team at all, but a team that does have some talent. It would be a road game. I got to think you got to give them a little bit more time to figure it out. Now, again, the Vikings could lose the game and McCarthy could look pretty good.
That's true.
There's a number of ways you can win or lose the game.
Here's what we can do. We can do the same thing we did last year at this time when we were trying to figure out when McCarthy was going to get the start.
That's right. We
can say, coming out of London, the second international game, the Vikings have a bye. That would be a good opportunity to get Wentz ready for his old team, the Philadelphia Eagles, coming back here for week 7. So we'll do it in reverse. What we did for J-Mac last year, we'll do for Wentz this year after the international trip and the bye.
That would be a hell of a story angle, actually, if that happens that way. If Wentz goes up against his old team and is brilliant.
Nick Foles could do the Gallahorn.
It's KOC, man. Anything's possible, right?
Well, it's true.
We learned that with Sam.
Looking for a smarter choice for dental implants? Meet the Contact Dental Implant System from Biotech Dental. Trusted by clinicians across Europe and now available in the US. With a single prosthetic connection, streamlined surgical kits, and seamless digital workflows, Contact makes every step easier. It's clinically proven, intuitively designed, and surprisingly affordable. See for yourself why more dentists are switching to Biotech Dental's contact system. Visit biotechdental.com today to learn more. That's biotechdental.com.
Darnold last year. So, Top 5 at 5 is apparently out today because we've got Ben Gessling at the top of the hour. We've got Lavelle scheduled for 5:30. Did I see a headline indicating that something either was said today or analyzed today to lead people to believe that Christian Darrisaw will start on Monday night?
Well, what was analyzed today would be the Vikings injury report that was released. And Christian Darrisaw was listed as a full participant.
Harrison Smith, not so much?
Harrison Smith was limited.
Limited. Okay, but so that means he was there, presumably, right? But limited.
Yes.
Okay.
And here's the kicker, though. It comes with an asterisk.
Darrisaw's on a pitch count?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
But the participation comes with an asterisk because technically we didn't really practice today.
Let's see. Okay.
Participation is an estimation.
What does that even mean?
Means they kind of did like a closed walkthrough,
like a walkthrough
or something.
kind of a thing?
Yeah, Ben will have more details on the specifics.
They were able to walk through.
I guess
doesn't necessarily mean that you're ready to play.
Well, Darrisaw was full.
I thought I read somebody else declaring basically that Darrisaw will start.
That I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. I haven't seen the same thing. I just know what the practice report said. So there's that.
You're right. I think the Wentz terrorists they're lying in wait already. After the Eagles game, when Wentz stinks up the bank, we will see then our future Hall of Fame quarterback, basically Max Brosmer. So this isn't actually a Wentz terrorist. I
that's
saw
not
Wentz.
my burner either.
You sure?
No,
one of them.
I went to make coffee during the break. I didn't text you.
Moving out of Brosmer's bungalows into Max's mansions.
Ooh.
Max's mansions. 651 guy writes, Sean Salisbury and Gerby on the Dan and Jordan show. All is well in my world.
Feels right, doesn't it?
Once again, it does, but maybe the Gerby thing is short-lived. I'm beginning to think that there's a real possibility that it's over.
He seemed very detached.
He did. Very detached.
And usually week one, he's so fired up. He's ready to go. He did mention he doesn't think they're going to win all their games. That would be difficult.
That was his one concession.
Yeah, but he's always kind of primed, and I thought he was a little bit subdued this week or this year.
Today's edition of How Low Can the Twins Go? Because we had another night of just outstanding material. I'm amazed they got the game in.
Yeah,
but
no kidding.
Thank God they did. And by the end of it, I was told there were maybe 24 people in the stands, almost literally, because there was a long rain delay, etc. We get swept. We lose again to the White Sox. We get swept by the worst team in baseball. And in 3 of the games, we blow leads of 1 run after 7 innings, 2 runs after 8 innings, and 3 runs after 6 innings. We lost all 3 of those games. A relief pitcher I'd never heard of named Noah Davis.
Yeah.
He got lit up, and I'm told that he in 9 appearances this season with 2 teams, his earned run average is now a robust 18.00.
We know it's not good baseball.
Paid attendance for the last 3 games combined. Paid attendance. That doesn't mean this many people were there. It's how many people paid originally to get tickets sold. 3 combined, 36,813. That's not even capacity for the ballpark. I don't think.
No, I think it's about 40.
That's
frustrating.
How low your Minnesota Twins can go. I think we're playing the Royals next, right? Pretty sure it's the Royals.
You want me to look?
And the quotes from Rocco were the same, deadpan. It's not good baseball. It was not very good. That's not the way we need to do it. We need to snap out of this very quickly. They're not going to snap out of it anytime quickly. And again, as far as I'm concerned, no one will convince me that when you literally, I don't care whether the Twins were out of it or in it. when you trade away your top 5 relief pitchers, and I don't want to hear about what they've done elsewhere, that's irrelevant to me and meaningless to me since. When you trade away your 5 best relief pitchers, you are officially tanking. You are, and I don't know if it's for a player or it's just because you can and you want to, but you are literally, for a month and change, not giving your team a chance to be competitive in any real way, and you are stealing if you continue to make people actually pay money to see the product. Period. I mean, there's no way around it.
The fun game we could play the rest of the way is maybe like do a prop bet every game on when they blow the lead.
That's good.
Because you know they're going to blow the lead because they have no pitchers in the bullpen. When might they blow the lead? It could be some type of game.
Yeah.
Although tonight we've got our stopper on the mound.
We do?
Pablo Lopez is back.
That's right. He's back.
Our stopper.
Yeah.
This whole thing started when he went on the injured list.
That's true.
10 months ago.
So all will be well if he fashions a shutout tonight?
We've got our stopper.
How many innings? What's his pitch count limit tonight?
Well, what I was going to say is let's hope he can go 9, because I don't think you want to give the ball up. I'd rather have a tired Lopez than anybody else in this Twins bullpen at the moment.
I just don't want to then I don't want, if he pitches well, turn it over to the pen. Right?
Exactly right. That's what I'm saying. He's got to go 9.
The Twins network showed a vendor cooking a full flat top of brats and Italian sausage. Was that footage archived, or did they have to throw them out?
Seriously.
Looked delicious. That's TA from Pierre, South Dakota. How about that? That sounds, I'm hungry thinking about it. But my guess is they had to throw those out, or they're going to reheat them and try to sell them.
Yeah.
Are we still home?
No, we're on the road now
Kansas
for a while.
City.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a shame. But a great night for baseball tonight. It's great to have your own section. Top of the hour pause is upon us. Ben Gessling is coming up. We'll get his preview of Vikings Bears and maybe talk some other NFL-related stuff as well. Lavelle is scheduled for 5:30 on what we like to call the Friday Football Beat.
Looking for a smarter choice for dental implants? Meet the Contact Dental Implant System from Biotech Dental. Trusted by clinicians across Europe and now available in the US. With a single prosthetic connection, streamlined surgical kits, and seamless digital workflows, Contact makes every step easier. It's clinically proven, intuitively designed, and surprisingly affordable. See for yourself why more dentists are switching to Biotech Dental's Contact System. Visit biotechdental.com today to learn more. That's biotechdental.com.